Hello there, friends. Just a couple of us this evening, but we'll crack on anyway. And hello there, Johanna. You haven't done this before. That is no problem. We haven't started. We're starting. We're starting now. So the way we do this class is it's a very gentle restorative stretch, and then yoga nidra, which is like sleeping yoga. And the idea isn't that you go to sleep per se, but that you drop into a very deep state of relaxation. And it's very similar to meditation, except in meditation, you're kind of making an effort to stay conscious and follow each thought. So you're very much in your conscious mind. And when you practice yoga nidra, you almost enter more like a deep sort of almost like a hypnotized or trance state, where you're no longer making that effort to follow each thought, but you're responding to the cues of the voice you're hearing, so which will be my voice. And we'll do a bit of kind of visualizing. And the idea is you drop into almost a kind of dreamy, like a lucid dream sort of a state. It's really lovely. I think you're going to like it. Great. So we'll get going with the restorative stretchy bit. So come to standing on your mat. Also, if you haven't done this before, you're going to want like something comfy to lie on when you come to the lying down bit. Like the floor kind of starts off feeling comfy, but when you've been lying on it for like 20 minutes, it starts to be not so comfy. But for now, we'll come to that. I just give myself a bit more space. So we'll do a little bit of a stretch. Oh, that's a bit uneven. There we go. We'll do a little bit of a stretch of the sides of the body. So just finding your feet. Maybe take your feet about hips distance apart. And just spend a moment feeling into the sensation of the feet on the ground. So bring some awareness into the ball of the big toe. And try and imagine spreading your weight evenly into the outside of the little toe. And also into the inside of your heel and the outside. And just closing down the eyes for a minute. And imagine breathing all the way down into the feet. And with each in-breath, imagine drawing energy up from the earth, right to the crown of the head. You could take 3 deep breaths like this. Just settling in and just checking in with yourself for a moment. Then on your next inhale, you're going to stretch both arms up and overhead. Oh, bit of tummy coming up. Stretching your arms up and overhead, and you're going to take hold of your left wrist with your right hand. And on an inhale, you're going to lift up and out of the waist, and as you exhale, you're going to stretch over to the right hand side, or maybe you're mirroring me, whichever way is best for you. But take a nice long inhale down the side of the body. And as you exhale, come back up. And we'll do the other side. So taking hold of the other wrist. So for me, it's my right wrist in my left hand. Take a nice long inhale. And as you exhale, bending over. For me, it's to the left side. Take an inhale here. And as you exhale, coming up. We'll do one more each side. So taking hold of the opposite hand. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And as you exhale, stretching over to the side, all the way down into the ribs. Inhale here. And exhale back up. One more the other side. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, stretching over. Trying to kind of tuck the chin slightly so your neck is released. Inhale. And exhale back up. And you can just release the hands Take a couple of little shoulder rolls, releasing any tension in the shoulders. Then we're going to come to a little bit of, it's a kind of tapping exercise it's actually from, I think, Tai Chi or Qigong. You basically just loosely swing and tap the opposite shoulder with the opposite hand. So your left shoulder and your right shoulder, left hand, opposite shoulder, opposite hand. You can just really swing quite easily from the waist. And if your feet move a little bit, that's fine. No need to keep them rigidly in place. And you can just keep doing this swinging exercise. Keep doing that for about 5 more rounds. I'm just going to close a couple of these doors. Releasing any tension from the waist. And if you're still swinging, just gradually swinging yourself to a halt until finding stillness again. And then releasing the shoulders, you're going to bend forward gently from kind of rolling down from the waist, and you can take a little gentle bend in the knees. And you're just going to let the head be completely loose and floppy, no tension in the neck. And you can take a little bend in the knees, as much of a bend as necessary to get your hands comfortably on the ground. And if you happen to have any books handy, if you'd rather rest your hands on books, then feel free. You can just fold yourself forward, either resting the fingertips on the ground, or if you like, you can hook your fingers around your toes. But wherever you are, making sure that the neck is long and no tension in the neck. And just holding this nice, gentle forward bend and sending the breath up the backs of the legs and sending the breath into the lower back and up and over the middle back. Sending the breath in between the shoulder blades. Releasing the neck. And releasing any tension out of the top of the head. We're going to stay here for 5 more nice, long, deep breaths in our easy forward bend. Again, taking as much of a bend in the knees as you need to, or resting your hands on books or blocks. But the purpose of this is to feel a bit of a stretch up the backs of the legs. And energetically in yoga, forward bending, whether you're sat on the ground or folding at the waist, standing up, it's meant to have a restorative effect on the central nervous system. And when you're ready, letting go of the toes or wherever your hands are, and taking hold of opposite elbows. So taking like a classic ragdoll, you just gently sway yourself at the waist. Again, keeping this chin tucked to the chest so that the neck is long. We're just kind of sending your awareness into the sides of the body, swaying at the waist. Releasing any tension in the lower back and the middle back and the upper back. And then finding stillness in your ragdoll and releasing the hands. And now interlacing the hands behind the back and keeping the heels of the hands touching, bringing the hands up and over the head. So coming into a bit of a shoulder opener, still keeping a bend in the knees if you like, and keeping the chin tucked to the chest. Sending the breath in between the shoulder blades. Breathing all the way in between the shoulders. Opening into the chest. It's quite easy for tension to get trapped in the top of the shoulders and the back of the shoulders. So doing these nice chest opening poses is really good for releasing tension there. Take 3 more of your own nice big deep breaths. And exhaling all the air out. And releasing your hands. And then gently rolling yourself all the way back up. Taking as much of a bend in the knees as you need. And keeping the chin tucked, letting the head be the very last thing that comes up as you roll yourself in slow motion all the way back up to standing. Really try and notice the sensation of the whole spine unfurling, one vertebrae at a time. And when you've arrived at the top of your mat, we're going to come to all fours and take a couple of rounds of cat and cow pose, just again limbering into the spine. So making sure that your knees are underneath your hips and your hands are underneath your shoulders. And on an inhale, you're going to lift the tailbone and the top of the head lifts up. And as you exhale, you round the bottom of the tailbone, press into the hands to round the top of the spine and let the head hang heavy. Inhale, the tailbone lifts, the crown of the head lifts. And exhale, tucking the tailbone, pressing into the hands and rounding the shoulders. And you can just do 2 more of those in your own time. Breathing in to lift up the top of the head and breathing out to release and curve into the top of the spine. And when you finish doing that, you're going to inhale and lift up your right arm. Follow your fingertips with your gaze. Take a breath into the right side of the lungs. And as you exhale, bringing the right hand all the way through and resting the right cheek on the ground. You can use your left hand to stabilize you, or if you feel very stable here, you can wrap your left arm around the back of the waist. Staying here for 5 deep breaths. Breathing all the way down the right side of the body for 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale. Exhale, 5. On your next inhale, reaching yourself back up. So coming back up and out of the pose, lifting the right arm all the way back up, watching the fingertips, and then bringing the right hand down. We'll do the left side. So as you inhale, lifting up the left hand, watching the fingertips, and as you exhale, threading the left arm under and resting the left cheek on the ground, keeping the hips high and using the right hand to stabilize you. Or if you find yourself stable, you can wrap the right hand around the back of the waist. Staying here for 5 of your own deep breaths. And when you're ready, inhaling the left hand all the way back up. And exhale, coming back into neutral spine. And from here, we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So you're going to bring the weight forward, resting the top of the hips on the mat or on the floor, releasing the toes so the top of the feet are relaxed into the ground. The shoulders, the elbows are underneath the shoulders and the forearms are stabilizing you. The gaze is forward and you can just shrug your shoulders down away from your ears. So you should be experiencing a nice opening sensation in the front of the body and a slight gentle back bend in the lower back. And if that feels really too strong, then you can come into a low cobra, which is where you bring your hands underneath your shoulders and you can just push yourself up, hugging the backs of the arms together. I think generally Sphinx should feel quite comfortable, but it depends what your lower back is like. So just go really mindfully. We'll stay here together for 3 more nice, long, deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale 1. Inhaling all the way into the lower back. Exhale 2. Inhale. Exhale 3. And when you're ready, we're going to work our way back onto all fours. So you can just bring your hands down underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, and lift yourself back onto all fours. And from here, we will take just one downward facing dog today. So you can lift up through the hips, and you can walk your feet in a little bit, but stretching down the sides of the body, stretching down the arms. And you might find the backs of the legs a little bit stiff, so you can just start to pedal them out a little bit, bringing some weight into one foot, bringing some weight into the other foot. We're just taking 5 nice big deep breaths in downward facing dog, trying to hug the elbows towards each other, but relaxing the shoulders down the back away from each other, lifting up and out of the waist, hugging the ribs to the spine, and just lifting through the tailbone, engaging the quads, and sending the breath all the way down the backs of the legs. On your next inhale, you're going to step your right foot forward to the outside of your right hand, and you can bring your left knee down. We're going to come into dragon pose, which is similar to lizard pose. So for lizard pose, which you might be used to in a class, you come up onto the toes and you straighten out the back leg, and then you can come down onto your forearms. And for dragon pose, it's a slightly more, you tend to hold it for slightly longer and it's more of a restorative pose. You can bring your knee down and you can bring both hands to your right knee. And it's just a kind of like a hip opener. So you should be feeling a stretch into your left front hip flexor and into your right glute. And if you find that feels quite tough on your back knee, then you can come into lizard pose, so bringing your hands down and picking up your back knee. Or if you have like a bit of a cushion handy, you could bring a cushion under your left knee. It's kind of up to you really. What we're looking to explore is a left front hip opener and a bit of a glute opener on the right side. So we're going to stay here for five breaths from now, making sure that your right toes are facing slightly, not quite facing forwards, facing at a 45-degree angle out. Inhale. Exhale 2, sinking a little bit further in if you can. Inhale. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. Now pushing yourself back up and out of the stance, you can bring both hands down to the inside of your right foot. And we're going to come into pigeon on this side too. So you can walk your right knee towards your right hand and your right foot towards your left hand. You're going to try and square up your hips here And then just walking the hands out forward in front of you. And you can rest your heads either on the floor, on your hands, you can stay up on your forearms. If that feels really just way too strong on the glutes, then you can come into thread the needle, which is where you put your right foot on top of your left thigh, bring the legs at right angles, and then you reach around the back for your left thigh. Both work really well, so it's totally up to you. But staying here for 5 more nice long deep breaths. And just seeing if there's any tension or clutter in the hips or in the glutes that you can let go of. As though with every breath, you're smoothing out the creases in the muscles. Take one more nice long inhale. And another nice long exhale. And when you're ready, we'll walk our hands back out of pigeon pose. So coming back up onto the fingertips. And if it feels comfy for you to do so, you can tuck the back toes. And you can lift yourself back up into downward facing dog. And we'll do the left side. So when you're ready, stepping your left foot to the outside of the left hand. And you have options here. You can bring if you want to come into dragon pose, you can bring your right knee down. The left foot is still going wide. You can bring your hands up onto your left knee, or if it feels better, you can keep your hands on the ground. Both ways should take you into front of the right hip opener, and you can put something underneath your right knee, or if you prefer to take lizard pose, you can tuck your back toes of the right leg, straighten out the right leg, and just stay on your hands, whichever you prefer to practice, depending on how much padding you've got and how open you feel in your hips right now. Both are really good options. And we'll stay for 3 more nice long deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Inhale. Exhale 3. And from here we'll come into our pigeon pose on this side too. So bringing your left foot towards your right hand and your left knee towards your left hand. Trying to square your left shin with the front of the mat if you can. But just settling the hips, lifting and lengthening, then as you exhale, folding forward, either onto your forearms or all the way onto the ground, resting your head on the ground of your hands, or if you want to come to thread the needle, then you can bring your left foot on the top of the right thigh, bring the right shin at a right angle to the ground, then reaching through the back, around the back of the right thigh, just opening out into the left glute. We're chiefly interested in experiencing a nice glute stretch here. Sending the breath all the way into the left buttock. And seeing if you can notice any difference in the left side and the right. Most people are a bit more open on one side or the other, and that's absolutely fine. Pretty natural, really. I'm trying to stay with the experience inside the body and the breath connecting you to each of the postures. Take 1 more nice long inhale and a nice long exhale. And when you're ready, gently walking your hands back in, if you've been in pigeon, and coming back through downward facing dog, if that feels all right. And when you're ready, we'll come onto our backs, and we're going to do it's called Supta Baddha Konasana, or sleeping butterfly. So you bring the soles of the feet to touch together, so opening out the groins, and then you can just walk your hands back, lengthening out the spine until you're lying down. And you can take the hands either behind the head or just resting on the abdomen. But here we should be experiencing a kind of groin opener and an opening sensation into the back of the hips. Staying here for 5 deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale 1. And in the energetic body, this one is all about our root chakra and our Swadhisthana chakra, so the bottom two, which are all, the root chakra is concerned with our most basic fundamental needs, things that keep us stable, like our families or our jobs or anything that keeps you feeling rooted and supported. And the chakra up from that is below the navel, and it's all to do with our sexual organs and it's like the waterworks of the body. And it's also to do with our feelings of creativity and our sexual health as well. So it's good to keep those aspects of the life in balance. When you're ready, sliding your feet away from you, we're going to finish with a little supine twist. So you have options here. So you can either bring your feet together and your knees together and take your knees over to the left side and cactus your right arm, so bring it up at a right angle and gaze over your right shoulder. Or if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can hook your right foot over your left foot and take both knees all the way over to the left side with the gaze over the right shoulder. Doesn't really matter which one you do, but see if whichever option gives you a better connection with the knees on the ground. Trying to keep your knees at hip height if you can. The second one can be quite an intense stretch if you don't have some support underneath your knees, like a pillow or something. So just see what feels good. And sending the breath all the way down the right side of the body into the waist and the hips. And this nice big twist in the energetic body in the yoga philosophies is all to do with our yellow chakra, our Manipura chakra, which is kind of at the solar plexus. And that's all to do with our digestive health. Mostly processing food, but also to do with our center of confidence, our ego. And this nice deep twist is supposed to bring that all into balance. Take one more nice long inhale and one more nice long exhale. And bringing the knees back into the center, and we'll do the other side. So if you've hooked your leg over, then you can hook your left leg over your right this time, or you can just keep the knees together and take the knees at waist height over to the right, and your gaze over the left shoulder. Trying to see if you can keep the left shoulder on the ground, if you can. Breathing all the way down and in between the left ribs. Into the left side of the waist. And just imagine really releasing any tension out of the lower back. This one is a really good one to do if you run a lot. You tend to get tight in the lower back, or even just sitting at a desk, sitting in a chair all day. It seems to do an absolute mischief on most people's posture and the way the spine feels. So doing a bit of twisting could be a nice way of smoothing out all the creases. And taking one more nice long inhale. And a nice long exhale. And we'll prepare the body for Shavasana, final relaxation. So now is your chance to reach for any extra padding. You might want to have like a blanket or even whatever padding you have in your house, like even like a sleeping bag or something underneath you, or just a blanket, just to give yourself a little bit of extra cushioning. And you might find you want to grab something for putting over your eyes. Making any last props, last mad dash for things that you might want to get. Now's your chance. Okay, and when you're ready, we'll do a squeeze and release of everything. So lying on your back with your feet outstretched and your palms outstretched. And you can just make sure that the lower back is comfortable, so lifting it up and tucking it under. And when you're ready, we'll take a nice long inhale and squeeze the feet, the calves, squeeze the thighs, the buttocks, the stomach, the ribs, the chest, the hands, the face. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And relax. Letting it all go. Let's do one more of those. Inhale, squeeze the feet, the calves, the thighs, the buttocks, the stomach, the chest, the hands, the shoulders, the face. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And relax. We'll take a sigh with a bit of a groan behind it too, really letting go of any effort that you've been making. Inhale. Letting it all go. Nice sigh of relief. So settling into your Shavasana, your final relaxation. And we'll begin the practice of Yoga Nidra. So getting a sense of the body lying on the mat. Feeling yourself supported by the ground below you. All parts of you resting in relaxation on the ground. And we'll work with the senses to go outwards, to go inwards. So bringing your awareness into your sense of sound and seeing which sounds you can hear nearby. Starting to tune in to the ears. There might be other sounds in your house. You might be able to hear the beating of your own heart. You might be able to hear people outside, or if you're lucky, a bit of bird song, depending where you are. Maybe there might be traffic. Just being lightly inquisitive about the sounds that you can hear. And now taking your sense of sound even wider, as though you had bat hearing. And you could take your sense of sound as wide and as far away. Just really listening out for as many sounds as you can hear. And now taking that same curiosity and that same sense of listening will come into the body, feeling the shape of the body, relaxing on the ground, and just imagining that you're able to let go of any effort to remain in the shape that you're in, as though you're handing over a little bit more of your effort to the ground below to hold you up, as though the earth were taking a little bit more of your weight. And we'll start with a body scan. So for each part of you that I mention, imagine that part of you relaxing even more, as though you're switching off any effort that that part of the body has been making. And we'll start with the right hand. So right thumb, right index finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger. The right hand is completely relaxed. Traveling up the right forearm into the elbow, up the bicep, and into the right shoulder. And coming up and over the right shoulder, into the right pec. And traveling down and in between the right ribs. And coming into the right side of the stomach. And into the right hip. Down the front of the right thigh. Down and into the right knee. Into the right shin. Down the front of the right foot. Into the right big toe. Second toe. Third toe. Fourth toe. And fifth toe. The whole right side of the body is completely relaxed. And coming into the left side, starting with the left hand, left thumb, left index finger, left third finger, fourth finger, left fifth finger, and coming into the palm, and coming up into the left wrist, left forearm, left elbow, up the left bicep, into the left shoulder, up and over into the left pec, down and in between the left ribs, down and into the left side of the stomach, down into the left hip, down the front of the left thigh, into the left knee, down the front of the left shin, down the front of the left foot, into the left big toe, left second toe, left third toe, left fourth toe, and left little toe. The whole left side of the body is completely relaxed. And traveling now up the back of the body, into the feet, up the back of the calves, into the back of the left knees, both knees, up the back of the thighs, into the buttocks, feeling the space underneath the curve of the lower back, and the back of the ribs, the shoulder blades resting on the ground. And coming up into the tops of the shoulders, into the back of the neck, into the back of the head, coming up and over the top of the head. Smoothing across the forehead. Into the eyebrows, the eyelids, the nostrils, the lips, the jaw, and down into the body. Feeling all parts of you in total relaxation, lying supported on the ground. And we're going to go a little further inwards, bringing your awareness now into the heart center. And getting a sense for where that is. In between the chest, in between the ribs, and the heart chakra in the energetic body is represented by green light. Call to mind someone in your life that you're grateful for right now. And with every breath, sinking a little bit deeper into that feeling of gratitude for that person and how lucky you are to have them in your life. And with every breath, sinking into that feeling of gratitude and imagining that green light at the chest growing a little bit stronger. And as you sink into the feeling at the heart center, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into your mind's eye, into your imagination. Imagine that the green light from the heart center grows wider and wider until it opens out and you're sitting by a lake. And this might be a lake that you visited before, somewhere that you already know. Or it might be somewhere that you're inventing for the first time. And you're sitting on a grassy bank in a gentle sun's rays, perhaps an evening sun. The sun is resting on your face, but it's a gentle, warming, relaxing feeling, so that you don't even really need to squint. But warm enough so that the light playing on the water makes it look quite tempting. And as you look out across the lake, perhaps it's a large, broad lake, and you can't even see the other side. Or perhaps it's smaller and more manageable. Maybe there's some mountains around the lake. You can't help but notice how calm and clear and still the water is. And as you look out over the still water on the lake, it's as though it reflects in you that same internal stillness, as though all the energies have come to rest. And as you sit, staring out over the lake, you can't quite resist the temptation just to dip your toes in the cool, clear water. So you stand up on the grassy bank and you take a few steps down to the water's edge. And taking off your socks, if you were wearing them, and rolling up your trousers or your skirt, if you're wearing them, and just taking a couple of little curious steps into the cool water. And it's not so cold that it sends shivers down you. It's a kind of gentle coolness, like the feeling of a breeze across your face. The kind of coolness that indicates that the lake is very clear and safe for you to swim in. And as you step into the cool water, you feel the silty, slightly clayey mud between your toes. And it's got a very satisfying squelchiness to it. You bury your toes into the squelchy silt, enjoying the sensation of the mud between your toes. And gazing out over the clear, still lake, you might find you want to take a few more steps in, feeling the coolness against your calves. Maybe you want to go all the way in up to your chin. As though the feeling of the cool water is taking you deeper and deeper to feelings of calmness and relaxation. And the warm sun is still playing on your face, charging you up in the place between the eyebrows, right in the third eye. And the feeling of the warmth from the sun and the coolness from the water invigorates you. And as you look out across the still lake, maybe at the mountains on the other side, maybe at the trees, you think perhaps this is the calmest, most relaxing place that you might have ever been. And with every breath, it's as though the lake and the beautiful calm scene becomes part of you. You are that stillness right to your deepest layer. And you take a couple of last deep breaths, breathing the lake into every single pore, and watching the sun playing on the surface of the lake, and knowing that this is a place that you can come back to whenever you need a bit of calm, and whenever you want to recharge. And you gradually start to walk yourself out of the lake, Noticing the feeling of the silt between the toes. And brushing any water off the surface of your skin. Maybe washing the mud off your toes. Taking a few moments to warm up in the sun's rays. And breathe in the relaxing scene. And when you're ready, we'll allow the lake and the beautiful, calm, serene scene to blur back into a green haze. And coming back into the heart center, the heart chakra. And we'll start to retrace our steps back into the physical body. Becoming aware of your whole physical shape, supported by the earth below you. The back of the body in contact with the ground. The back of the hands resting, making no effort. And then taking the awareness into the senses, into your sense of sound. And noticing any sounds that you can hear nearby, and any sounds that you can hear far away. Sounds to bring you back into your body. Maybe there's a sound of people or other sounds of life nearby. And the sound of your own beating heart. And coming back now fully into the body. And I'll count back down from 10. And when I get into 1, you'll fully arrive back into your physical form. Starting with 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And when you're ready, just bringing a little bit of movement back into the fingers and toes. And taking a nice big stretch with the arms overhead and with the feet. And maybe a bit of a yawn, a bit of a stretch. Bringing yourself back into the room. And when you're ready, rolling over onto the right-hand side. Coming into a kind of embryo position, lying on the right. And gathering yourself here for a couple of breaths. And when you're ready, pushing yourself up into a seated position and keeping the eyes closed. And we'll just close the practice together. So noticing how you feel in your physical body. Notice how you feel in your energy levels. Notice how you feel in your emotional states. Notice how you feel in your mind. And searching for any feelings of peace or bliss we may have cultivated through the practice of yoga nidra. And making a promise to ourselves to share any of that peace that we've created for ourselves on the mat with the other people in our lives off the mat. And drawing the hands to heart center, remembering the person that you feel grateful for in your life. And we'll close the practice by chanting just one gentle Om. Don't be shy. Inhale. Om. Palms to the heart center, love to all. Palms to the lips, peace to all. Palms to the third eye, light to all. May you always be blessed. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me on this Sunday night. I hope that you had a lovely, relaxing time of it. And I'm sorry I did go over it a little while there. It's quite hard to keep to time. It felt like it took a little while to drop in, and I didn't want to drag you out too abruptly. But sorry if anybody had an on-the-dot 7 finish. And I will pop the link for Monzo in the description. The charity that some of the proceeds are going towards at the moment is Headway in East London. And yeah, thanks so much for joining. I'll be back tomorrow night at 6 p.m. for Jiva Mukti Yoga. And yeah, have a lovely evening. Thanks. Bye.